Unit 7, Section 1, Westward Population Growth and its Impact on Native Americans. Before the Civil War in 1848 and 1849, we see large numbers of Americans moving westward because of the gold rush after gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in California. Well, the Civil War from 1861 to 1865 interrupted this westward growth, and when the Civil War was completed, it continued. This led to the Indian Wars that lasted from 1876 to 1890. In 1851, the United States government signed the Fort Laramie Treaty with Native Americans living on the Great Plains. This was supposed to settle the problem that existed since Andrew Jackson had removed the Indians in 1836 with the Indian Removal Act. And when the American government passed that legislation, they just removed the Indians west of the Mississippi River and didn't necessarily put them in any specific area. The Fort Laramie Treaty was supposed to solve this problem, but a Confederation leader of Native Americans on the Great Plains, a leader of the Sioux Indians, Sitting Bull, refused to sign the treaty. He felt like it was unfair and was a break of a promise made by the American government, and so he did not participate. And so he formed a confederation of over 10,000 Indians, a large percentage of them braves, and his tribes attacked white settlers as they moved out west, specifically gold prospectors. So the American government sent a American general and the leader of the 7th Cavalry out west to stop these attacks on these gold prospectors. His name was George Armstrong Custer. He had been a hero during the Civil War. In the Battle of Little Bighorn, George Armstrong Custer was wiped out by Crazy Horse, who was a commander underneath Sitting Bull, and he and his whole entire, or 1/3 of his entire troop was wiped out by this in this attack. News got back to the eastern part of the United States that Custer, a hero of the Civil War, and 1/3 of his whole entire troop had been wiped out by Indians, and there was such an uproar that this is the event that kicked off the Indian Wars from 1876 to 1890. The event that ended the Indian Wars occurred in 1890 at a place called Wounded Knee. Since Little Bighorn, Sitting Bull had surrendered, had gone on to a reservation and was killed by Indian police on the reservation. His followers had left that reservation in an attempt to go to another reservation and join up with a different Indian leader. The Native Americans that had been under Sitting Bull had learned this dance called the ghost dance. A medicine man underneath Sitting Bull had shown it to the Indians, and this dance was supposed to drive the white man away. White people saw it as a rebellious dance and wanted it ended. So whenever they saw the Indians doing this dance, they would arrest them, and the Indians would get in trouble. Well, the people underneath Sitting Bull had escaped the reservation and were moving to a different reservation when they were caught up with by the remaining troops that had been under Custer's command that hadn't been killed at Little Bighorn. And using Gatling gun and cannon, they turned these on the Indians at Wounded Knee and killed over 400 of the Native Americans there. In the opposite to what happened at Little Bighorn, where there was public outrage about the Native Americans killing the Indians, now there was public outrage that this war was over and that it was overkill and that Native Americans were being massacred, and so there was a big public outcry to end this war. This concludes Unit 7, Section 1, Westward Population's Growth Impact on Native Americans.